say his name and he appears. It's Clash of the Castle from Scotland. We're talking about it tonight. Here we go.
I can't believe it! Yes! Yes! A Rock is going to WrestleMania! Randy in position for another curb stop. Oh, my! Unbelievable counter! Oh, my God!
Unbelievable! Welcome back, everybody. It is another episode of In This Very Ring right here live on YouTube and Twitter on A2D's accounts. Free A2D radio. That's all I've got to say. I am the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. My name is Rich, and join me. It's the first time in a long time we've all been back together. Don't adjust that dial. And we're on time, too. That's astonishing. Joining me as he does each and every Friday night, the mayor of Toasty Town. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Butters.
Hi.
It's always anticlimactic. It's always anticlimactic. Such a mess. And once again, on time, the OGP of A2D. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Pete Evans.
Greetings and salutations. I'm back like I never left. I'm a little something better than a Camaro. I'm a Corvette, but I'm ready to get this show going on the road. It's good to be back. You already know how it is. Back up in this bitch. Free hashtag free A2D radio. For real, exactly. For real. Like it ain't no game. Like we just say that to say that.
The time for games is over.
we ready to go to war games our damn selves.
We ride at dawn. This episode of In This Very Ring is brought to you by our friends at Baggio's Bread. Baggio's Bread is located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, home of the best stuffed breads, tomato pies, sandwiches, cutlets, and meatballs. Mention A2D Radio for 10% off your in-store purchase. That's Baggio's Bread in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. We thank them for sponsoring today's episode. Well, gentlemen, it is Clash at the Castle weekend. I feel like we're doing another pay-per-view preview show. We just did one a few weeks ago. The one thing I do like about the summer when it comes to wrestling is it feels like there's always something. They may not be like groundbreaking. They may not be landscape changing.
It may not
there's
be
always
WWE.
something to talk about. Yeah, but there's always something to talk about. There's always something that the fans are talking about, right? When it comes to week content, and it's all building to something. It's not like it used to be where it's a lot of downtime and we're doing the bracket shows or we're doing best ofs or anything like that. We have
downtown.
No, there's always something to talk about now, and the wrestling world has been talking so much over the last week or so, ever since NXT Battleground, and I mean even before that when Jordan Grace showed up on NXT. We had was it Paxley Tatum or Tatum? It's Tatum Paxley.
Tatum Paxley. Yeah,
she actually took on Jordan Grace tonight for the TNA Knockouts Championship. Jordan Grace is the TNA Knockouts Champion. She retained that title. Tatum Paxley is from NXT. That was the crossover there. So now we're starting to see a little bit more. And we know that this coming Tuesday, there is a 25-man over-the-top battle royale, all for Trick Williams' NXT Championship, shot at Trick Williams' NXT Championship. And as Cody Rhodes said Tuesday night, some will be from lockers you know, some will be from lockers you don't.
Just one of my just acknowledge this. Look at that.
I am not acknowledging your tan line.
God, I could be Butter's cousin right there in the middle at this part right here.
No comment.
See, if I was to make that joke,
you can't. You can't.
You can't.
There is no making that joke.
Yet here's this man right here making the joke. He gets away with it.
Anyway, moving on. But ever since all of that, though, right? Ever since all the crossovers and everything, people have been calling for one thing. People have been asking. They've been begging. They've been chanting it around the globe. Why? Because they all believe in Joe Hendry. So our question tonight, Joe Hendry will cross the line and make an impact at Clash of the Castle. Agree, disagree. I throw it over to the man with a plan, Mr. Pete Evans, which, by the way, Spencer chiming in. Get it, boys. Love the tan line. Thank you, Spencer. Much love.
I agree. I mean, it's leaning that way. I agree to the fact that he will appear. Impact-wise, I'm trying to find a spot because that's what we were talking about. You kind of alluded to it now. What makes this summer of 2024 so much different than a year ago? Yeah, the pay-per-views and stuff were still around, but as far as where the storylines were heading creatively, kind of was predictable. And now they have so many different options of where they can go, right? So I'm thinking, is Joe Hendry Scottish?
He is Scottish. That is why. When we were building this and putting the show together, that's why I brought it up last night. And I said, I really think this is the route to go for us when it comes to Joe Hendry. And then look what happened today outside the Hydro with all the billboards and everything. But continue.
Yeah, I think because it depends on what spot he's in. But even if he just shows up, I didn't know. Listen, this is just me being kayfabe. I didn't know who the guy was today. And he's definitely he's already, and this is a knock to him. He's what Elias could have been, in my opinion.
And so I'm very familiar with Joe Hendry. I've been following Joe Hendry since his days in ICW, because he was also big with What Culture, and I love the What Culture Pro Wrestling from back in the day. That eventually became Defiant Wrestling. And Joe Hendry was big there. And he's been doing the whole singing wrestler gimmick thing. And, you know, I'm going to go to Butters here in just a second, but some of his best stuff is always about his entrances or mocking his opponents. Like when he does, you know, the song I'm Blue?
Yeah, when I saw the one where he did the Drew.
Yeah, I'm Drew is incredible.
Drew, da-ba-dee-da, da-ba-da.
Exactly. I'm Drew, da-ba-dee-da-ba-die. Right? So that is very much, and you talk about where do you put him, right?
Right.
You put him somewhere near Drew.
Okay.
Just to kind of tease that.
Is that history is there?
Oh, that history is so there. They had a great rivalry in ICW, and because Drew was like, when we think about Drew leaving and coming back, he went to ICW, and that is where he made his name. That is where he became champion. That is where he cemented himself for a very long time, and just that was the resurgence of Drew Galloway into Drew McIntyre. And Joe Hendry was a big part of that. Grado was a big part of that as well.
That's that. Listen, dude. Hands down, that entrance in ICW, and I forget how I came across it. God, I would have loved to have been there live.
Grado's entrance at the Hydro, and I'll tell you, I know exactly how the night went because it's one of my favorite ones. He was fighting Galloway for the title.
Yep.
Mick Foley was the commissioner that night.
Yep.
And Grado ends up winning. And go back, and the moment's awesome. Don't get me wrong. The crowd singing Madonna, awesome. But go back and listen to the commentator that night. One of the most prolific lines he says is, "I don't believe in much, but by fuck, I believe in Grado." It's a great line. Because there's so much, and he's still wearing the hat Grado put on him at the beginning of the match.
Yeah.
So, Butters, let's go to you.
Speak up, Mayor.
No. Anyways, nah. You know, I think he will make an appearance after everything that's been shown.
You lying sack of crap.
No, listen to me. Shut your mouth. Sit there and listen. Before I smack you upside that bald head of yours.
Come on with it.
You know, after everything going on, but you know, with his appearances on the billboards, his mentioning on Raw, NXT, it is very, very possible that yes, he will cross that line. As far as the impact made, he could reignite that feud with Drew. Screw Drew over. Now you got that crossover with Drew crossing over to Impact, right on back home, to Impact and teaching, Hendry a lesson.
So I don't disagree that I think you involve Hendry with Drew. And mind you, I agree. I really thought Butters was going to disagree to this poll question because he did earlier today. Right?
Served you.
Oh, 100%.
Andy screwed Andy.
It's his poll question.
It is my poll question.
Yeah.
But
I just worded it.
I do agree 100% with this poll question, and mostly because last night I did the math, and it all played out exactly how I thought it did. Joe Hendry had a match tonight on Against All Odds against Frankie Kazarian. They're in Chicago. That match went on about 8 o'clock, 8:15 time frame Central Time. Okay, and Glasgow is only 6 hours ahead of us. A flight from Chicago to Glasgow is only 9 hours. So there is I looked at some different ones, like if he left at 10 o'clock at night, something like that, he would have, in theory, arrive in Glasgow at about 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow. And the show is going live at 1 p.m. Central Time. Again, to keep all the time zones the same. 1 p.m. Central Time, which is 7 p.m.
Central Time. It's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central Time. So you said his match went on at 8. It was about 20 minutes. So theoretically, grab his shit, get his gear, be at the airport, 9:30, 10 o'clock. Flight leaves at 10:30, which is 4:30 already Scotland time. It's a 9-hour flight, 7-hour 11. So he would have landed at 1:30 this afternoon.
He would land, 1:30 tomorrow afternoon.
No, he's already there.
No, Chicago's live
Tonight.
Okay. He was in Chicago tonight.
He was in.
Yeah. So now there's a very good possibility he's sitting at an airport waiting to board a plane. And what's to say the WWE jet's not there for him?
Right.
That might be even a quicker flight at that point.
No.
Yeah, if he's flying private, then it's a different airstream. Maybe, but like maybe they can shave off an hour. Maybe at most 90 minutes. It's still going to be cutting it close. I mean, I have my own druthers about tomorrow night, which we'll get into how I want this direction to end. And I kind of think WWE, they have options, but also have backed themselves into a corner somewhat.
Yeah.
Somewhat. But definitely, I definitely think he makes an appearance. What's up, Don? Impact as far as it just depends, because they're not going to have, like, if he would have had a rub with Waller, Theory, they're not doing a spot like that tomorrow. Are they doing a KO show tomorrow night?
No, none of that has been advertised yet. Now, following the events of tonight, today, maybe they may advertise something. But you could just bring him out and have him hype the crowd up halfway through.
Right.
Do the attendance bit.
That's an agree to the part across the line. But it's the second part of that question that makes it tough, is where we say make an impact. Essentially, does he get physical in some fashion with someone tomorrow?
Physical? No. But I think him showing up, because when you think about the TNA crossovers, and it expands further than just the Royal Rumble this year, right? We had Mickey James a few years back at the Royal Rumbles as well, right? And this will be the first TNA male superstar to cross over and just be
active
seen.
while he's active.
While active, and just be seen on WWE programming.
Has there ever been a cross-promotional active star that's male to ever appear on WWE programming?
No.
Yes, Dan Severn.
But active, was he? You mean active USC or active wrestler? But like
NWA. He was the NWA World Champion at the time.
Okay. All right, so I remember what you're talking about. NWA was weird back then, though. You're talking late 90s, right?
Late, early 90s, something like that.
Yeah, the NWA was such a weird entity back then, because you had, like, at one point you had multiple things of the NWA and ECW all at the same time
No, I get
happening
that.
on WWE programming, and because Vince was still at one point a member of the NWA, like the National Wrestling Alliance, right? So I don't know if I would 100% count that. I give it a lot of credit, right, for you pulling that one, because I would have never remembered that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, not like in the last, let's just say, in the last 25 years since modern day IWC and what we know sports entertainment, professional wrestling to be today. We never thought we would get to this point. I'm not saying it's not going to happen.
Of someone crossing into the WWE.
Right. And I mean, honestly, just from what I've seen of the TNA product, he would be the biggest guy. He would have the most impact to do it. And he's not he's not a world champion. I mean, but Moose is Moose. You know what I mean? Like, he's not in that setting. Like, this essentially is a once in a lifetime opportunity to be able to pull this off.
And when you think about the fact that you're going to have this 25-man battle royale on Tuesday, right? That first TNA star that walks out does make history.
Yes.
Right. So if you're TNA, who do you want that to be? And you're not going to have Joe Hendry walk out as the first TNA superstar on Tuesday night.
Right.
Right. You want to save him till the end, get that big pop from the NXT crowd. Joe Hendry is Scottish. There is nobody else that you put out there, that you put in front of that crowd, just him showing up makes that impact, because it is history in the making.
And not just that, but it's an overseas crowd, which means it's going to be a whole lot better pop.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, 100%.
And it's a hometown. So ideally, this is what I probably would do. Whatever happens in the main event or whatever, you just put Joe Hendry in the crowd. Or
no, because you want that. I
think they're still going to sing the song regardless as soon as he's on screen. Or you can have him come out or do a backstage segment, and he can just say, like, "Hey, I believe," and then the crowd's going to finish the rest, and then he announces the fact that he is, "Hey, I am here, and I want to say that on Tuesday I am one of the contestants in the 25-man battle royal."
All right, so this would be 100% stealing Drew McIntyre's thunder. 100% stealing McIntyre's
for
thunder.
NXT though.
But hold on, and I.
You're saying your scenario?
Yeah, with what I'm about to pitch, 100% steals McIntyre's thunder, but it's worth it. McIntyre wins. He's celebrating, right? You know, he does his pose with the title on the ring apron, and all you hear is "say his name" and he appears, and the place goes bananas. And they did it last night on Impact, where it cuts up to the Titantron, like you watch it swing up and swing back down, and he's standing next to the interview lady.
Yeah. Right.
And you do that where he just shows up on the ramp or in the ring or whatever have you.
Right.
Right. And he's got an NXT shirt on or something like that.
Kind of the similar thing to what Jordan Grace, the NXT TNA.
Yeah, NXT TNA. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Drew McIntyre, like he shakes Drew McIntyre's hand, gives him a big hug, celebrates with him. But that right there says Joe Hendry is going to be on Impact.
Yeah.
Right? Like you still celebrate Drew. You don't have him beat up Drew. You don't have him give any inclination that he's going to go after Drew for the title or anything like that. You can build to that maybe later, but you have him celebrate with Drew.
Yeah.
While wearing that shirt. I think that would be perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Regardless of the fact, his presence needs to be felt. Like, and then even they were hyping it up tonight on SmackDown, giving all the hometown stars, Piper, Alba, Isla. They like, hey, like, guess what, guys? Like, we haven't said this before, but we're from here. We are here. The last time this came around, y'all just knew about Drew, and that was it. Like, now there's Scottish stars all across the card.
Well, and the last one though was in Wales.
Well, okay, that was Welsh, right? So that's Welsh people.
Yeah, that the one it was 2 years ago. The last Clash of the Castle was 2 years ago.
Well, it was September 2022.
Yep, September 3rd, 2022. It's bordered by Wales is bordered by the Irish Sea to the north and west, England to the east, and the Bristol Channel to the south.
Okay. So this is right in his backyard.
Yeah, Glasgow. Like this is in Glasgow.
Well, I mean, I was surprised by no pyro tonight. I will say that, which is a little weird. I don't know if it's because of where they're at. So I wanted to just hold it off to see it till tomorrow.
I think part of it's where they're at. The other part is the Hydro's not a big arena.
So are they in the same venue tomorrow night?
Yes, they are in the same venue tomorrow.
Okay.
The Hydro, the capacity is 12,000 people seated. If you have it. That's it. If you have standing, like people standing, you can do 14.5.
Okay.
So that all right. So once we get into the card, based off of that, I have more thoughts. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. But I definitely think that this is the time to bring in Joe Hendry. I think he's the right person to do it, the right moment. I think if you don't do it, it's a missed opportunity. Right now, I will say if you don't do it, I very much understand the fact that, you know what, this guy had a match tonight in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They may not have.
Who's he fighting tonight?
He fought Frankie Kazarian. Kazarian beat him.
Okay.
Understand.
Right?
What was it tonight? It's a regular TNA house show?
It was against all odds.
Oh, so it's a pay-per-view tonight.
Yeah, it was a pay-per-view for them tonight.
Okay.
Which I thought was interesting. Like, TNA, don't get me wrong, they've done shows like that on Friday nights, but they haven't in a while. But yet now all of a sudden you're doing it the weekend of Clash at the Castle. You're doing a Friday night show.
Right.
All right. Anybody else have anything on Joe Hendry showing up at Clash of the Castle before we move on to the card? I want to break down this champion. I didn't realize it until we were putting things together today, Butters and I were. Every match on this card is a championship match. This is Clash of Champions.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's almost, other than, I mean, it's a decent split of Raw and SmackDown championships for a 5-card match. 5-match card.
That's crazy how they have just been dropping these pay-per-views to maybe 5-6 matches, and yet AEW still has yet to get the hint of drop your card.
Well, but then they're also they're going the distance on the time too, right? Like prepare for every match tomorrow to be 15 to 20 minutes long.
And that's fine.
Well, how many matches are on the card?
5.
Okay.
So let's get right into it. Let's start with what's probably going to be an easy one. The triple threat tag team match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill defending their titles against Alba Fyre and Isla Dawn and Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. Who do we got and why? Let's break it down.
Let's see. I feel like Fire and Dawn can get this one because it's a triple threat, so they could just pin Shayna or Zoe. This way, it still makes Belair and Jade strong. You got the 2 Scottish women winning it in Scotland, but at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure it's just going to be Belair and Jade retaining it. As much as you get that, as much as you wouldn't mind that big pop for those 2 winning it. Wait, what'd you say, Mr. Pete?
I said as it should be, because you're alluding to it. Short term success.
Yep.
Isla and Alba. But where do you go from there once they come back to the States? Who's going you see what I'm saying?
Exactly. And which makes the obvious point of Bianca and Jade, retaining it.
I wouldn't say that, because I think you can sell me more on a long-term Shayna and Zoe run. Because right now you're looking at, you have the champs who are the favorites. You have the Scottish tag team on their home soil. So everybody's looking at them. Nobody's thinking about Shayna and Zoe.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
And I think it's important to point out as well, right? 3 out of these 5 matches have Scottish-born wrestlers.
Yep.
In these matches. Sorry, I was looking up Finn Balor because I couldn't remember where he was from. I swear to God, I couldn't remember.
Irish.
He's Irish. And So I don't think we're going to see a lot of Irish-born wrestlers winning, right? Because then you're talking about drastically changing the landscape of your women's division, number one, but then also the landscape of Raw if Drew McIntyre were to win. So for this match, I think Zoe and Shayna are there so that Fire and Dawn don't take the pinfall.
Mm-hmm.
Because to Pete's point, right, if you have Fire and Dawn win, where do you go from here? They're not established on the main roster like they were in NXT. Like when they were the NXT Tag Team Champions, Women's Tag Team Champions, and they did that whole thing with Dawn kind of like corrupting Fire, and that was great TV at the time. But since they've come up to the main roster, they've had a couple different injuries. They came up injured, I also believe, as well, right? So now they're getting back in the swing of things, and you need to establish them. That being said, if they do win, having Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark as their first competitors, like their first challengers, would be a good way to establish them, would be a great way to, because you do have that contrasting styles in Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, very ground and pound kind of fighters, mat wrestlers, whereas Fire and Dawn, they're not. And they have that, I don't want to say that mystical side to them, but they can tap into that and play off of that. So you get the mind games, you get the unique back and forth between the four ladies. So if you were to take the titles off of Belair and Cargill right now, I think right now, Fire and Dawn are a good choice, but also I believe it Pete said there can be something to said with Baszler and Stark. But I definitely, if I had to pick, right, I think Bianca and Jade retain.
Right.
Then my next call would be Fire and Dawn winning because of how I see the rest of the card playing out. And then Baszler and Stark would be my third option there.
So when I look at, from a sports entertainment perspective, right?
Sure.
Presentation, storylines, things of that nature, I would lean more toward Fire and Dawn. If I'm looking at believability, I'm going like just straight. If I'm just focusing on believability, like these titles are vacant.
Yeah,
I'm going Shayna and Zoe because those are two that I'm not taking nothing away from Jade. I'm not taking nothing away from Bianca. Look like $1 million in a fucking real fight. I'm going with Shayna and Zoe because for one, Shayna we already know.
Yeah,
and Zoe is just right there with her, right? Zoe has probably single-handedly the best finisher out of any male or female in WWE right now, in my opinion. Like it's ridiculous, and it doesn't always look the cleanest, but it is what it is. It just if she gets it off and it's clean, the visual of it is great. Smart thing is keep it on Bianca and Jade. I kind of think they're leaning that way because all the Scottish-born wrestlers outside of Drew all had their shine tonight, and tomorrow it's all about business. And we've already seen the WWE product and creative. They're not going to do business or to do a title change just for the sake of a short-term ovation.
Yeah, so, everything's got long-term ramifications that they've been doing as of late. And I think tomorrow night we do see that play out. Pete, you made a great point in a real fight, right? I'm taking Baszler and Stark. But in that same sentence, you look at that sports entertainment side of things, and you look at how Fire and Dawn, you have more creativity with them. That's the one downfall when you have these wrestlers who you actually believe that they will beat the ever-living snot out of you, and in a real fight are going to win. There's really only so much you can do with those folks. They're better when they're chasing the titles.
True, or they're just that dominant. Do you think that's that team? Because we just saw the Monday Night and Raw. If you're talking about straight believability, there's no reason in the world Arthur Payne shouldn't have walked out the WWE Tag Team Champions after Monday Night at all, right? But this is sports entertainment, this is professional wrestling. Kooky shit happens, right?
Right.
I almost feel like, and this is just me,
That's our quote of the night, boys. Cookie shit happens.
The
30
parallel
minutes.
between Fire and Dawn walking out of tomorrow night with the women's tag team titles would almost make me feel like what happened with the Iconics at WrestleMania, because nobody would see that coming. Kinda.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? That in the parallel, like a dominant team as the champions. That was Bailey and Sasha at that time. You have this dominant team now.
Yep.
Nobody's going to see that coming. And like Butter said, you don't have to have Jade and Bianca take the pin. That won't happen. And then that could ultimately lead, and now I'm talking myself into it, that could ultimately lead to whatever rift that we're eventually going to get to between Jade and Bianca.
And I think that comes from multiple attempts to recapture the titles, and they failed.
Yep. Chase. Well,
right.
now they got to chase.
Yeah, now you have to be in the chase, right? Mm-hmm. And the chase is where you always figure out who's really in it and who's not.
Yep.
Right. I think, especially if you want to run this back, right? In singles, in 2-on-2 matches where Fire and Dawn versus Baszler and Stark, or Fire and Dawn versus Cargill and Belair, there's still more I think you can do with this, right? If you just switch up who the champions are. I don't hate this storyline. I think it's just a true, we want the titles kind of storyline. It's not like the next match I plan on us talking about, where it doesn't make a lick of sense, and I don't know how we ended up here. Okay. As we cover up Butters' face.
It's for good reasons. People, if you're visual, if you're not visually impaired, please. And for our audio only listeners, when you do listen to this on all podcast platforms, what's on the screen right now is like, share, subscribe, do what you do. You know how it works.
Exactly. Let's go to the one that I just don't get it. Like I have
no idea where you're going with this, by the way.
Bailey and Piper Niven.
I don't. Okay. I have this thought. Okay, go ahead.
And here's why I think Dawn and Fire win. I don't see Piper beating Bailey.
No.
Right? And because I think we do have Scott. I think somebody from Scotland walks out with gold. Right? I absolutely do. But to what extent? I don't think it's all three of them. It could be just one. Right? It's definitely not Piper Niven, and that's not a knock at Piper Niven.
Right.
I think if she were to break off away from Chelsea Green, she'd be a great singles competitor. Right? The stuff they did today, the little kickoff stuff, I didn't like it. It seemed like Piper wasn't taking it real too seriously. Right? Which is fine. That's kind of placating to her character, the way she's with Chelsea. But this one, Bailey 100%. Also, it's Bailey in the UK. Hey, Bailey. Ooh. I want to know.
Okay,
my girl. They did the damn thing today at the kickoff.
Yep.
Right? So Bailey is untouchable.
Nah, I wouldn't say that.
No, so
in the UK, when you're looking at just a crowd reaction.
Yeah. I think there's something coming, and I can kind of predict what her SummerSlam title defense looks like.
Well, have at it then,
and I like it. So I don't think you know who is ready to come back yet or close to it.
Okay.
This whole Bailey coming out tonight just to be there for Naomi. This is the time. This is the time. Get me close to you. Whatever happens, you know what I mean? Naomi Bailey SummerSlam, heel Naomi. I don't know how we get there, but I think some story can be told because she's already been stabbed in the back once by Io. You know what I mean? And then since Naomi's return, obviously how they could do it. So because now you think about it, right? Once again, this is not taking anything away from Piper. I love Piper's in-ring work. I think she can go. I just don't know. Once again, that question is, what do we do from here?
Correct.
Where do we go from here? So that's where it's. And honestly, I hate to say this. I can't stand Bailey's new music. It doesn't make sense to me.
Nope.
She's lost steam since Mania.
Yes.
And these are those things that we kind of see
the perfect time to take it off of her.
Her as a heel champ is different from her as a face champ. Her as a face champ, she's better in the chase.
I'm not gonna lie to you. The second she went face,
yes,
you had to go. You just had to go back.
You had to bring back.
You don't have to go full hugger, but you got to bring back at least maybe like the music or something.
Right, like you can't erase that. Like that is still a part of her.
Fits her so much better.
Yes, because you're still using the same graphic and everything from when she was running Damage Control. The music's changed, but the graphic is still the same. Her ring attire is still the same. Now I get it. She has ideas for her character and what she wants to do, but I'm talking about long term what gets you over, because I can honestly see it. Come SummerSlam, she's not going to be champ.
Yeah,
and or here's another way you can do it. You could. What's up, Pope? You can still do Bayley Naomi. Just got to turn Bayley heel. Turn heel again.
Yeah. If she would have walked out a few weeks after WrestleMania, you don't need to do it right away after WrestleMania. I understand that, right? But a few weeks after WrestleMania, and you don't need to bring back the Bayley buddies. You don't need to bring back the Macho Man jackets. You don't need to bring back the bright colors, anything like that. But if you have her come out to that old school music, or even like a that same music, but throw in a little bit more like guitar or something to give it that edge, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's great. That's fine. Combine the two, and that's what you'll give us. But this new music just doesn't fit.
It's a lot of crappy music, man.
Right? Like we were talking about it. I don't know where we were talking about. Was it our chat? We were talking about how the music just ain't anymore.
Yeah, for whatever they're doing with Braun Breaker on screen, that music, his theme is not doing him any favors.
No.
Whatsoever.
None of the music hits for, like, if you're not a top star, if you're not a Cody Rhodes, a Triple H, a Randy Orton,
Trick Williams.
Melo's
music still hits, but
Trick Williams, his music is so much fun.
Yeah.
It is, and it's all Booker T. It is all Booker T.
Yep.
I'm sorry, but
the ad libs, bro.
Yeah, 100%. But the music just doesn't do it anymore. Like Baron Corbin came out tonight to help Apollo. Is he back to Creed or is he Cruz or what is it? He's back to a Cruz. And came out to help Apollo tonight. And at first you don't realize it's Baron.
Yeah. His first, they need go back to his first team.
Yes, we need to stop shying away. Now, I don't know if we lost the rights to some of those teams, right? Because that was when they were with CFO. I don't know. I don't know what the deal with the music is. That would probably take a little digging into. Mm-hmm. But go back to some of those, or get Jim Johnston out of retirement.
Who they're using now? Death Rebel? Is that who they're using now? Death Rebel?
Yes. God.
Yeah. I mean, I like Priest's new theme. It takes too long to build up, but once you're there, I mean, Rhea's theme is good. Even now, Liv's theme, like, why are we still using that theme when that's not in line with where she's at?
Mm-hmm. Things are not matching up.
The biggest word I could say, there's a lack of cohesion between the character and their theme.
Well, and that's where, like, these theme songs, you don't realize how important they are,
right?
Until they don't match anymore,
right?
Like, we took a lot of theme songs for granted, and we took a lot of, you think back to Triple H, and I use Triple H as a great example because he was notorious for having two theme songs. When he was going to come out and beat the ever living crap out of you, it was The Game. That was the theme song. But when he was going to do Authority Business and be in the suit, it was the King of Kings song.
Right.
Yep.
Right? You could distinguish who was what.
Right.
Right? And there have been, Undertaker had different entrances that matched and worked. right? Rollins has had different iterations on his entrance.
He's had 3 or 4.
All along the same, like this is the most drastic change, right? This current one, but they were, first it was
you think for Rollins? I think the visionary one because that shit sucked.
That one was terrible, but I'm talking about like
the Messiah one, whatever he thought he was doing.
Yeah, the Messiah one was stupid. Had
fake eyeballs poking out.
Fit the character.
Yeah.
Because the character sucked. The character was stupid.
Yeah.
Right? But you think about the architect, then you think about Burn It Down, and then you think about the visionary. Now you have this one where everybody sings along.
What did you just say though? What was the 3 words you said? Even in his new one, his current thing, they go back to Burn It Down, and then they go. So it's a nod to
we're calling back.
Right.
Yep. We're calling.
Right. And then for Braun, it's a clean slate. For Liv, you can start her music out the same way, but then transition into something else. You know what I mean? Like it's just
when you do a good transition in the WWE, it works really, really well. Right?
Yes.
Like Rey Mysterio, Randy Orton, these guys have had their music for years.
The classics.
And at this point, yes, they're classics, but it also still fits what they do.
Yep, it still fits the character that they're portraying on screen. And Randy is such a tweener, like it doesn't matter heel face. What it doesn't matter. Like it's just
even Kevin Owens music, right? Sami Zayn, right? Zayn's music fits what he does.
It like there's no reason why Chad Gable's still coming out to the Alpha Academy shit.
No, Jey Uso. They changed his music when he went main event. Now, I don't agree with the main event moniker anymore, but that's a different story for another time.
Yet, by the end of it, you just wait. Just wait till next month. Till next month.
We're getting off track. Back into it. So are we all in agreement, though? Bayley is going to win?
No.
Oh, I didn't think so. All right, make your case.
As much as I love me some Bayley, and everybody knows how much I love me some Bayley, I feel like Piper's time is here. Give her a shot. Give her a chance. You have Chelsea Green is the mouthpiece.
Question.
Yo,
what has Piper done? You say it's her time. It's her time to give her a chance. What other than being a former women's tag team champion? And this is not a shot at Piper because I do like Piper. I think she is good.
And a former UK women's champion.
What has she done? What has she done as of late?
You can are you taking it off of her because you don't like Bayley, or are you taking it off of her because you believe in Piper? And I have to throw this in there. I forgot all about this. You can't throw my plan out the window because remember, Nia won Queen of the Ring. She has the women's title match at SummerSlam.
Yep.
I forgot all about that. So.
And that's why I don't think you put.
I mean, as we stated earlier, Bayley's lost a lot of steam since WrestleMania. You can take that belt off of her right now and give it to Piper.
But then you got to roll with Piper and
Nia, and right. no disrespect to either woman, but having to, yeah. How do you sell me that match?
Right.
No disrespect to either one of them.
Not to discount, right? If you do that switch, you do that title change tomorrow. And once again, you say give Piper her moment, right? Give Piper her time. You believe it? She can't the go-to know where you need to get to in August. You have Money in the Bank in July. We're going to have theoretically saying, whoever wins Money in the Bank, we're going to have a cash in again at SummerSlam. Or you're going to have a cash in at Money in the Bank or between Money in the Bank. Because you can't have this short big girl and Piper, who is a brute, then have Nia. I don't know how you, like Andy said, how do you get me invested in that match?
And keep in mind, so tomorrow's the 15th. You have 2 weeks, and then you have Money in the Bank.
What is the Money in the Bank date? Is it
the 6th of July?
Wow. So it's July 4th weekend. Jeez.
Yes. So I think this is just a filler to put another Scottish wrestler on the card. Again, no disrespect to Piper and Butters. I think if you didn't have Nia on the horizon, right, maybe you could sell me on it.
Yeah,
this is just a tough sell,
right? And that's where
I understand that.
I felt like when we talked about Backlash in France, when the benefit they have of having the ability to be able to go to these overseas locations and have these big pay-per-views. You see they're doing Fanatic Fest. They're tapping into something because they don't go there often. Honestly, like let's hold about it. If people from Scotland watch this, you're getting a glorified house show. That's what you're getting. You're getting a glorified house show. Be thankful for it. And kind of, I'm not saying that we're obviously in the United States we're entitled, but that's what you're getting. And you're like Andy said, some of these matches are going to be filler, they're not going to really have any substance. They're a nod to get the performers that they have from this era, from this town, or that area of that region. Thank you. I was stumbling there a lot. It's just like, here you go.
But I also think when you start looking at like the two men's matches, right? The three men's matches, we're gonna get storyline advancement. And I think that this is, when you go back to the women's tag match, I think this is a great way to build Fire and Dawn, Baszler and Stark in that tag team circuit as contenders, right? This thing with Piper, unless Chelsea turns on her or Chelsea cheats to win or something like that, right? This match is truly just to put Piper on the card. And I mean that very kindly.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Respectfully so, to put Bayley on the card. Because they're not doing anything with Bayley either. To the point we didn't know this was happening. Because again, Bayley in the UK. You can't not put Bayley on the card.
Yep.
Right? Let's go to the Intercontinental title match. Sami Zayn, Chad Gable. Is it Chad's time?
God, it is so Chad's time. Like, give him the damn belt.
Give him the belt.
Turn Otis away from Gable. Like, just get it all done in one fine shot.
I want them all to turn. I want Maxine to turn. I want them all to turn.
I don't. Here's why. Here's why. Here's why.
You're probably going to get the Creed brothers interfering in that match.
And I think you get Ivy now because they kept Ivy away from Maxine throughout all of this. Right? It all starts breaking down. Ivy looks like she's going to come out. Looks like she's going to come out and help her. And this is what starts. The Creed brothers attacking Otis and Tozawa and everything like that. It looks like Ivy's going to come out and kind of like take care of Maxine, and she levels Maxine, and then the Creed brothers come out, and you just replace Otis, Tozawa, and Maxine with Ivy and the Creed brothers.
Yeah, and then once you do that, then Otis and Tozawa will be in the next batch of releases.
Otis,
Tozawa, and Zayn. You start building to this weird match at SummerSlam or
8-man mixed tag match.
8-person mixed tag match.
That's right. 8-person mixed tag match at SummerSlam.
Butter's trying to get himself canceled, but
I'm not trying to get myself canceled. I didn't have a word at the moment, I guess, apparently. I don't know my brain.
It would be a really weird match, but I think that's what you're building towards. And if you don't put the title on Chad Gable, then Gable don't resign.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're getting the Jey Uso treatment here, where they're going to put you in match after match after match with huge ramifications, and you're not going to do anything about it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And this is kind of that. This is
like who did I bury last week?
I have no idea. I was not.
What? I buried somebody because they did nothing in AEW. Oh, Ethan Page. Yeah, that's about as memorable as he is, right? I buried that man last week, and I'll be damned if I'm going to sit here and have to bury Chad Gable, but we're pretty close to it. Why? Because you've done nothing!
Yeah. Like you said, which I think the intentions was to bring him back, and he was open, obviously, IWC talking about Ricochet and everything else like that. So, but this is where you kind of you come off of the longest IC reign in history. Yeah. And now, but honestly, this is where, if I can talk about where Triple H may have fumbled the ball at some point, this is where you should have just went into WrestleMania with Chad versus Gunther, and then everybody goes home happy.
And what I honestly think, and I will die on this hill, it should have been Gable back in October on Raw.
No, I'm cool. I'm cool with
the timing.
That decision.
The timing was perfect.
Yeah, but I mean, a Philly crowd at WrestleMania, they would have got behind Chad.
100%. No, I don't disagree. But that Raw match, the Raw match was better than the WrestleMania match with Zayn and Gunther.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course. I mean, for 95% of the match, and then we had Sammy do a callback to what he used to do as El Generico Ring of Honor, the turnbuckle brainbuster, bang bang boom. But this is where you could have still got here with this match at this point, with Chad ultimately still turning heel as the champion, because now, like what the Angle used to do when he was a champion, this is my precious. I'm not losing this. And so now Sammy poses a threat. You can have a threat as a friend, or you really want this. You always looking at it. This is what you want. You want my circle. And then you know what? Chad's like, screw this. I need a whole new circle. Enter Creed Brothers, Ivy Nile. He does everything he needs to do to hold on to the title.
Yep.
But
I think it's Chad's time. I want to see Chad win it.
He should have won it in Montreal.
This is absolutely the title that changes hands.
Yeah.
Above anything else, this title changes hands tomorrow. Cody Rhodes, AJ Styles, I Quit match for the WWE Undisputed WWE Championship. Again, I hate that we're feeding AJ back to Cody, because you are feeding AJ to Cody in this one.
But it's believable feed, though.
It is, but you're also telling me you don't have anything for Cody to do on.
And you're purposely trying to keep him away from the bloodline.
Yeah, that's why I think Cody should have stayed on Raw, got moved over to Raw.
Mm-hmm.
Right, you should have put the world heavyweight title on SmackDown. I think we talked about fumbling the ball a little bit, and not everything can be perfect. You can't hit everything at 100% right every time.
Now
but
hear me out.
Oh Jesus Christ! All right,
hear me out.
It's the scariest thing in the world when he says "hear me out."
What if
$10? It's something dumb.
You put the belt on AJ.
You just want to see chaos.
No, just hear me out, damn it.
We'll talk.
And then you have AJ appear at Impact and take on Moose.
I can still have AJ lose and have him do that.
Exactly.
But you want your champion to do it.
No, I don't think you're ever going to get that. If they get a crossover for an active WWE performer to go to TNA,
it will not be their champion.
Yeah,
their title is not. They're lucky the title goes on YouTube.
Yeah, you don't need. I'm on board with you, but you don't. And definitely for AJ, he's not going to lose any credibility going back to TNA.
Fallon. They don't even let them take the title in Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah. Well, I thought Roman used to take it and put it up there.
No.
Okay. And they have a deal with NBC.
Yes.
Wow. No. I mean, it's layers to it though. This is different than Backlash. It's just a man spiraling out of control, going to great lengths to still try to get what he thinks he feels he deserves and he needs. And it's just you're making Cody stronger because it's a different type of match. So you're making your champ stronger. Now, what we do with him is SummerSlam, I have no idea.
John Cena versus Mark Henry too. What?
What'd you say? I heard Mark Henry.
I said I don't mind watching John Cena versus Mark Henry version.
That's exactly what it is. I'm not cool
100%
with that,
what it is.
Yeah, but it is.
It is going to end the same way. Shocker.
Did Cena and Henry have an I Quit match after?
No, I don't think so.
And that's and people don't know this, but Mark Henry just said this, and other people validated. He was supposed to win the title, and he didn't want it. He didn't want he didn't want everything that came with it at that time.
Yeah, because he was on his way out. Like there was some truth to that retirement speech with the salmon jacket. He was on his way out.
Yep.
Right. He knew it. All right. Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre. Judgment Day is barred from ringside. And Drew's winning. You can't.
Punk is coming back and screwing the hell out of
Here's why you can do it. The venue was smaller than it sounded like it was 25,000 people there. Punk Drew SummerSlam doesn't need a title, right? Here's the one thing I will say though. I wonder if the reason why they did what they did at Mania is because Drew maybe was still wishy-washy on where he was at with his contract. You see what I'm saying? Think about it, because that's 8 weeks ago now. 9 weeks ago now. And we didn't know if he was going to resign. And I don't know. I don't know what the temperature was. So maybe he was doing business. This is to get him back. I think this hurts Priest overall, unless like we talked about in our chat, that somehow, some way, you have to break up the Judgment Day at this point, because he still needs to stay relevant. I think it's too early to take the title off of him. I thought Trips would want these long-term, maybe 3, 4, 5 months, at least 6 months, at least title reigns. So to do it within 8 weeks, just to give a nod back to Drew and want long-term storytelling, we haven't. Right after Mania, Punk and Drew were added for 3-4 weeks. We haven't seen Punk in 4 weeks.
Yeah,
right.
At all. And when you, like you said, what did you just say about Ivy? Ivy's going away.
Yep. So
now Punk shows up. It is what it is.
Yep.
Like it, Drew. I don't know. Like it's almost, when he came out Monday, he was coming down to the ring. Like he had his hands out. He was getting high fives from the fans. I'm like, so is he is he working as a face? You see, what are we doing here?
I think they're trying to position him a little bit as a face, because they know going into this match on Saturday, Drew McIntyre is going to be a god.
Yeah,
they're not going to be able to get them to boo Drew McIntyre for shit. It's Stone Cold Brett all over again.
And I think that's where, I don't think you've backed yourself into a corner by no means, because you can't not have Drew on the show. I mean, the man's in the Scottish Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Yes. Yep. No, I'm not discounting. When I said back yourself into a corner, I'm talking back yourself into a corner for what you have coming.
No, I absolutely agree.
Because guess who you have waiting? We've seen that match already. Gunther is getting the match for the World Heavyweight title at SummerSlam.
There's still money in the bank in the middle, right? There's still money in the bank in the middle.
No, you're right. But then once again, short-term reigns. Like, what are we doing? Like Drew, I'm all in agreement. Drew deserves that long-term reign, that 3, 4, 5, 6 month reign with the world as it is. Not like he had in the COVID era. I just don't think that time is now. And I don't think you need, even if you're in Scotland, in his hometown, you can still keep him strong, because you can even do a non-finish.
So
tomorrow.
I think you could do that, right? Here's where I'm like, I can't see Drew losing. At the last Clash at the Castle, Drew McIntyre main evented for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship against Roman Reigns.
Solo made his debut that day
and lost.
That was in Wales, and that was under a different regime. I don't see, so everything you're saying to me, if I'm Triple H and I'm listening to this and we're going over everything, short term. I don't think we're in that era where everything's going to be long-term storytelling. It should be with your champions, because do you think if Priest loses it, do you think he's strong enough to keep that spot on the ladder where we have him at now without the title?
Yes.
Is Priest making the title, or is the title making Priest?
I think it's a little bit of both, honestly.
So does Drew make the title?
And hold on. Let me elaborate more on Priest though. Priest is technically the third man to hold that title, right? Because it was Seth, then Drew for about 10 seconds, and then now Damian. So they're both helping each other establish credibility, right? What this title has helped Priest do, though, is it has helped him grow and stand out on his own for the Judgment Day. And that's what it's all leading to. I think the bigger story, the bigger picture here is the Judgment Day, is the dissension within the ranks. Rhea Ripley leaving, I'm not leaving, but getting hurt, best thing that could have happened to them. They were getting stale, they were getting bland, and you have JD McDonough occasionally costing Damian matches, and then you have this thing with Dominic and Liv, and people are saying, I missed it. I didn't catch it Monday night. They were saying that Finn slipped Liv.
He took the hotel card, which is why I think it's going to be Finn and Liv versus Dom and Rhea. I don't know how you get there. The thing I thought about with that whole situation is Liv says she wants to take everything away from Rhea. And I even said it here first. What they're doing, I saw it coming. But now to add another layer to that, like I kind of said, Liv can be playing with Dom the whole time.
Yep.
And as soon as you want what you want, and he's being standoffish, the smirks, we had this past Monday when she landed on him, as soon as he makes that decision to go to her and boom, Finn wrecks everything.
I think Finn is bigger than the Judgment Day. I'm sorry, the Judgment Day has become bigger than Finn.
Yep.
And more so specifically just really Damian, Dominic, and Rhea.
Rhea, yep.
Right? They are so much bigger. Finn has become that veteran that has just kind of slinked in the background, and JD McDonough's been there to get his ass handed to him.
So then you would have you can at SummerSlam, if you do take the title off, and you can have three 6-person tag match with Finn, Liv, JD versus Dom, Rhea.
Because JD's only there because of Finn.
Exactly. So he has to choose, and then I don't know where Carlito comes into play. I think he is kind of around just because maybe Dom was hurt. Maybe Dom got cleared a little earlier than we thought. But even with that being said, I have a hard time. Maybe you have okay. So all right. So let's say because Priest has he even defended the title? I think he's defended it once.
He did it at hold on.
Did he defend it at Backlash?
Please stand by. I'm pulling up the Backlash report.
And the reason I say all that is because you can still kind of
he beat Jey Uso.
So you can still kind of have this thing where okay, against my better judgment, Drew wins, Punk music's hit. You know what I mean? His music hits. There you go. Because remember, Punk said the whole time their beef never centered around the world title. It was about him main eventing WrestleMania. I injured you. So this whole beef that they have with each other doesn't even center around a title. It's just they just don't like each other. So
they beef in the beef.
Huh?
I said they beef in the beef.
Right. So that's why I'm like, if the two people involved in the beef don't care about something that's leather and gold, why are we making that switch? Because they're feud to that. Because everything now has been talking. The physical at Mania, yeah, but everything since then has been talking. All Punk has to do is cost him the match. All his music just has to hit something. Yep. And Drew still looks strong, and then all he has to say is, "I'm cleared."
Yep.
And then boom. And then you can still do. By then, we have 2 months of this great storytelling that we're having with the Judgment Day. By the time we get to SummerSlam, that's where you had the turn happen. And because guess what you got right after SummerSlam? Because there's 2 PLEs in August. You got Bash at Berlin. And by God, if Gunther doesn't walk into that with the World Heavyweight title, there's something wrong. Seriously wrong. You know what I mean? So it kind of writes itself.
Or win. Honestly, win it there.
So you say have him lose at SummerSlam?
Yes.
Then what do you win King of the Ring for?
To put him.
What do you win King of the Ring for? And you had one shoulder up.
To put him in. Grant, well, that's a whole nother story for another time. To put him in the main event picture without really needing a reason to. Not that you really needed a reason. Oh, I don't disagree with that either. This whole bloodline thing is a whole nother problem.
Yeah.
Not that you needed a reason to say, all right, Gunther's now a main event guy, right? But him winning the King of the Ring, it established the fact that you know what's coming with Bash at Berlin and everything like that. You have him lose, whether he gets screwed or he just loses or whatever. You have him go to Berlin and whoop ass in Berlin, winning in front of the hometown crowd. It's a horrendous stereotype that we've started to build with these overseas PLEs. But very much so is the hometown person in the PLE. Very much so is that hometown person winning.
Yeah.
In the main event.
Yeah. They're money draws, man. They're just printing money over there, hand over fist.
Exactly, which is why I don't know how you get there. I say Punk McIntyre wins. It's Punk and McIntyre in Toronto. Punk beats McIntyre. You build Punk Gunther for SummerSlam. Gunther can't get the job done again.
There's no way Philip is walking out of that. Oh, his body can't take that.
I don't disagree.
His body can't
but play off of that. Play off the body can't take it. He manages to overcome Gunther, but he can't. He's not 100%. Even 2 to 3 weeks later, when they go to Berlin, and that's where Gunther beats him and gets.
I mean, dare I say, I don't think they would do this, but the way Gunther talks and he carries himself is almost like he wants to put himself in the best position to ensure victory. You can do this where you can, hey, I'm a king of the ring, but guess what? Things can happen. It's one match. I need extra security that I'm gonna have to be a world champion. Still haven't win Money in the Bank. You could, but I honestly think
that's stacking your deck and saying you have no faith in anybody else.
I mean, but that's why I think they're not gonna go to Jay. I think Jay's winning Money in the Bank, in my opinion.
How would y'all rank storyline in the WWE 1 out of 3 right now?
1 to 3 right now.
Are you talking about like what storylines are the best right now, or on a scale of 1 to 3, how are they doing stories? I
don't know. I mean, I think storyline wise, Judgment Day and Living Dom is number 1, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think for me, because what Don just said a couple minutes ago, yes, the bloodline story is present, but it's just not hitting the same because
I'd probably put that at number 3. I think it was really good right after WrestleMania. You had that little shock and awe of bringing everybody in, and how Paul Heyman reacted to Solo calling himself the head of the table and everything like that. You know, the tribal chief, blah blah. But it's very much run its course. It shined an ugly light on Solo.
Yeah.
That I don't think he was 100% ready to be that main character in that feud.
And he's the complete opposite of Roman as the head of the
table. He's got the look, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But he's got more the look of like a mafia boss, not a
right. And that's why I said like Roman was t-shirt, tracksuit, very calm, very relaxed, very laid back. Solo is suit, black suit, red shirt, and Tonga and Tama are wearing suits. It's more sophisticated, but it's weird. The message that they're sending is like, hey, we look more sophisticated, more professional. We dress in a nicer suit, but we do even more dirty things than what we used to do when we were dressed in like just laid back clothing and stuff like that. So I think that's the message they're trying to send. But like I kind of got the reaction tonight when he entered the ring and he did his and I understand you gotta do what you gotta do, but sometimes it's like, yo, just Like I think sometimes he needs to dial it back just a little bit, and that's the fine tune. I think he's finding his way.
Yeah.
But so you said one. I think we're all in agreement. One is Judgment Day. 3 is Bloodline.
Yeah.
2,
Alpha Academy.
But then we just literally all sat here and said that this story's been going on too long. We said Chad's time is now. So, man, Don, that's
that's why I love when Don comes up with these weird ass questions, man.
I kind of would say, based on where it's going, but they literally just planted the seeds tonight, and that's the Austin Theory, Grayson Waller ascension.
But I would also say the AJ Styles, Cody Rhodes story. No, better yet, no, we're forgetting something.
What's that?
Logan Paul, LA Knight.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah.
I think the Logan Paul, LA Knight banter, and especially LA showing up at Logan's house.
That's weird that they didn't get physical.
It's not weird to me though.
Like I don't like maybe it was almost like he was there without incident, he left without incident. Like he could have pushed Logan in the pool, the US title was sitting there, and like just something like but I guess just the mere presence.
The story, the what I took away from it is LA Knight managed to get into Logan's house when Logan's supposed to be like this well-protected Hollywood starlet.
And his compound's in Puerto Rico, right?
Yeah, he got to his house in Puerto Rico and was in his pool chilling.
Yeah.
And his friends are stupid.
Friend from LA is here. What? Huh?
His friends are dumb.
Yeah.
His security guy is stupid. That's what I took away from
Yeah. Yeah, okay. That's number 2. So 1, 2, 3. But I mean, they're planting seeds for a lot. Like I said, and
when we've talked about it, this is that downtime. This is where they kind of hit that reset button, and you know that you've had Backlash, you've had, you're gonna have Clash tomorrow, and then in 3 weeks you've got, in the course of 6 weeks, you've had 3 events. Right. That's fine. It's all building to Money in the Bank. And subsequently SummerSlam, when you kick things off and everything matters after that.
We actually forgot about a storyline.
Which one?
And it's only because of the fact of what the IWC is saying. But I will say this. I know he hadn't re-signed as of Monday. And there's notes he's given no. Ricochet has never been as hot as he is right now. And Bully Ray said something on shout out to Dave LeGrec and Busted Open Radio. He said 100% you feel as if that was the last we saw of Ricochet. He'll never have another match in WWE. And he was like, I would have agreed with you if they hadn't did one thing. And that one thing is go out of their way on camera and even upload it on socials of Samantha Irvin, his true life fiance, running to go get in the ambulance with him.
Yeah, that's where it was the story.
Right. So that's where I'm thinking to myself, like, yo, maybe they just sit back and they watch what happens for 3 to 4 weeks. We'll see how Braun Breaker treats Samantha on Monday night, if she's even there, and how they interact, right? Even with his crappy music. And then Ricochet's never been as more popular as he is right now, and people want to see what he's going to do next.
Yep.
Because they want to see him get his get back because his fiance ran to the ring crying, ran to the ambulance crying. You know what I mean? So could they strike a deal in the midnight hour for something to happen? Maybe. I know based off of what everybody's heard, he's content on giving his notice, but that's a storyline because that's been carrying on for what? 3, 4, 5 weeks, because ever since Breaker, because it always seemed like when Breaker was going on a rampage, he was attacking 2 people. It was Ricochet and it was Ilya.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, Logan LA Knight, I would say those share 2, and then I still think both Logan LA Knight, the Ricochet Braun Breaker is still ahead of the bloodline for me right now, because really, even with Randy coming back tonight, it's still 2 on 3.
Correct.
You see what I'm saying? Like, and then we're talking, there's rumors that the 4th is coming.
Yep.
So, and he makes them look small because he's tall as shit. So, yeah, man, they're in a good spot, but it's a tough spot. It's almost like with these Saudi shows and these shows that are overseas. Like it's almost like you got to do something like we don't expect. You know what I mean? Because it's like, is it getting too predictable? Where honestly, I would sit here and say, if I'm looking at all these matches, right? Everybody probably is saying Drew should win. That's why I think he won't win, because it's so predictable for Drew to win tomorrow night, which could lead to something freaking wacky as I don't know what, as Piper beating Bayley. Or Shayna and Zoe, or Isla Dawn and Alba Fyre walking out with the World Tag Team titles, or for some reason Sammy retaining the Intercontinental title.
I think we're gonna enjoy all the wrestling tomorrow.
Yeah,
but I think at the end of it, we're gonna be shaking our heads, going, "What did they just do?"
Yeah,
and I don't know if we're gonna mean that in a good way,
or
if we're gonna mean that in a bad way.
Right.
Because don't forget what's supposedly on the horizon as well: the Wyatt 6.
Monday night. You've seen it 4 times. They said the reckoning is coming, and it was like 2 days, less than 2 days and counting.
Yeah, so that is also on the horizon. So there's a lot coming, but that's going to be for another night and another time for us, because we are out of time. We're actually over time.
So thank you, fam.
We want to thank our sponsors. We want to thank the fam. We want to thank all of you for chiming in, sharing us on all your social media platforms. For Butters, for Pete, my name was Rich. We will see you guys next week. Enjoy Clash at the Castle tomorrow. And until then, tell somebody you love them. Peace, love, and joy. We're out.
Peace.